so welcome to Teaching World Language with Technology.
And I'm Crystal Liu from Nebraska Department of Education. I'm the World Language Specialist.
And I'm Guy Trainin. I'm a professor of education at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. And today I'm really excited to learn about a new app and website, Pixton. I've never heard about this, so Crystal is actually going to walk me through it.
Yeah, Pixton is actually a platform that allows teachers and students to make comic books. And besides that, it allows people to create their own avatar. Not only one, multiple. You can change your facial expressions, your outfit, and your gestures. So that's why my students really enjoyed it. They create different avatars for different courses, and on different days when they feel happy, they have a happy avatar on their assignment. If they are sad, they put on a sad face.
And so I'm creating an avatar, and you can see some of the options. I actually chose an animal, so I'm an elephant today. And I'm actually choosing to put my avatar in a wheelchair and see what that looks like. I need to choose an outfit. That's a hard decision, but I think this would work well. And a bit tall. I'm going to be a bit tall. Okay. And that's a good expression. And so you can see that you can fairly quickly, I did this now in 30 seconds. You can also see kids spending a lot of time creating avatars. One of the things that I like most is that you can create more than one. So we can tell them, let's create one quickly, and later you can go back and create one a little bit more slowly. And the other thing I like, and we haven't mentioned this yet, is you can log in with your Google. And so any school that uses Google, and it allows kids to log in without remembering new passwords and all of that, which is always, always, always helpful. All right, so I've got an unnamed, and this is that I will name it. Obviously, it's me. All right, and obviously it does not have to be you. You can create a full cast of characters. Okay, so I have a character. What happens next?
You can make a comic.
All right, so let's see. So I'm going to my comics. It's very easy to navigate. I love that. And I'm saying, okay, create now. Actually, I don't know that I have an idea, so I will browse for an idea. Let's see if I can find an interesting writing prompt. My sibling.
How many siblings do you have?
I have one sister, but I can imagine. I mean, this is about imagination. I'm imagining that I have at least 3. So I'm going to remix this comic. And that means I can play with the characters, add things, take away things. So I'm changing. This happens inside someone's brain. All right. So what do I do next? This we'll call this me and my sister. All right. So this is we are starting to have episodes here. How do I add myself into it? So how do I add my character? Because I've got my character. Characters, and add a person. And I can take any person and add them in. That's great. I love cowboy hats. We will use this one. So now I've added a character into this comic. All right. So I've got characters, and what do I do now?
And you can create conversation, add bubbles and everything.
All right, so I go to edit, and I will add some word bubbles. So words, again, very logical, and you can see that there's also captions, but I will create a caption. And so, okay, I'll say change words. And it'll be, I'll have a thought bubble. I will add a thought bubble, and I will write, of course, I love my sibling. I have only one, and I will change this to sister. All right, and you can see that there's actually, again, if we're thinking about world language, there are other characters that you can use, there are accents, so you do not have to stick only with standard Roman alphabet as a way to write. And what languages can you use in this app?
Students can use, if they're learning French, German, Chinese, they can all use it in Arabic.
Yes. So here I've added the text. And I put it back and add words for this character, and this will be, hi, I am here. All right. So I've added this to the text. Hi, I am here. I love the fact that you can actually use the recording of voices. So that allows this, that takes this from a writing exercise to potentially a speaking exercise.
Yes.
All right. And so let's do another bubble and say, why are you here? He has this face that says, I don't know what you're doing here. So I will add this. And you can see how quickly or fairly quickly you can really start writing in the language. What I love about comics is it's motivating, it's fun. Yeah. Right? I'm having fun while I'm doing this. I might actually play with this a little bit later. And it allows for really practicing conversations.
Yes. And also, we can download students' books. Once your students join your class, all their work will show up in your class.
Yes, and if you have an educator account as a teacher, you can get all of that, but you can also skip that whole download thing and just print it out, and then you can print it to a PDF and share it that way.
Yes, actually I always use a free account, but if you want your students to have a background of different themes, for example, Cinco de Mayo is coming, and you want some specific background so students can talk about how they celebrate Cinco de Mayo and what activities they want and some other cultural elements, you can buy a packet and then all your students have access to it. They can use it in their comic books.
So we talked about my characters, we talked about creating a comics, which is really, the creating of the comics is the heart of the use you can make from this in the classroom with kids. So the next thing that you told me about, and I haven't seen yet, is the resources tab. So we're gonna go there. And what can you see in the resource tab?
There are lesson ideas actually for different subjects. So if you click it, and on the right side, you can see grade level.
Okay, so let's say I want to know what's available for 7th grade.
And objectives.
And objectives. So I want to do something descriptive. All right.
Yes, and then you can scroll down, and at the bottom you can find what language.
All right, so I am looking
you just missed
for
it. It's
world language. Yeah. Oh, on the left-hand side. I need to listen to directions a little bit better. All right, so here is a simple exercise in world language, places in the house, and now you practice vocabulary, and this is done with a little bit of French, I can see. And what I love about this is it does give you the standards, at least the Actful standards, and it does give you also the amount of time that something like that might take, so you get a sense of how it is. I love the ability to have pre-made lessons that are standards aligned, because we are always wondering, are we doing this just for fun and other people can too, or is it standards aligned? So this is very much standards aligned. It can mesh with anything else you're doing, in this case around the house, so you can see the example, but you can do it again in any language. This is just happens to be in French.
Yeah, this is really cool because sometimes we need ideas, you know, we don't have time to really create something from scratch, and this is a perfect example you can adapt to your own classroom.
Yes, and you can see as I'm changing the options, it changes what kind of lessons are available there, or sometimes there aren't. And by the way, there is a world language as a subject, but actually you can use ELA, because language is language, you can use ELA and just match the level of expectation from the language. And so you borrow that lesson and you play with it a little bit to make sure it matches the level that your students are at. But for example, practicing roots is something that you can do in many, at least, Romance languages. So it is not completely divorced from that. Or using denotation and connotation or cause and effect in other languages, that works across languages, for sure.
That's true. We adapt a lot of lessons actually from ELOs, courses, and also ELA. Yeah.
All right. So we talked about the lesson ideas, and what we're really saying is there's a lot in here. Go and explore, have fun. You don't have to pay to get access to this. There are paid tiers to this if you want to have a classroom of a certain size and different sets of resources. But there's a lot that's available just for free. And the last thing we wanted to talk about is
we can actually create class photo or staff photo with this all the avatars we have created. That really helps me. We all remember a couple of years ago, we have COVID started. So all of a sudden, the class moved online and all the kids felt isolated and they are not even connected, even though they are in the same classroom, in the same class. So that's why I use it to use Pixtem to create a class photo. So the kids can create their own avatar, but we can take a picture. We are all in one class. I use this photo every time when I'm, for each Chinese class. So they always see, oh, okay, I belong to this. I can see my avatar among all those other kids. Yeah, I'm one of them, kind of giving them a sense of belonging.
So this is what happens. You get a background, and then you can add, and you can see that the format here is a Google Classroom banner, which is great.
And you can change it as well if you want.
I'm going to do a fairy tale one because that's where I want to be. And then how do you add staff?
The link, can you go back? The link is right there.
The link is...
Yeah, if you open your staff photo.
Yeah.
And the link is right there. So any people get the link can add themselves as a staff member in your photo.
Okay. So the link would be staff invite link.
Yes.
And that created a link that we can all then use and add our own picture to the picture with the rest for everybody else. And again, you can do that with staff, but you can do that with your class. So every student in your class is part of that photo, and you can put it on your Google Classroom if you have a Google Classroom, or on any website that you use, and it represents everybody the way they want to be represented. And it creates a sense of belonging. And we talked about this. Crystal was talking about how, especially during COVID, when we were learning online, and students were feeling disconnected, as did we.
Yeah, I'm in your class now.
Oh, right. I am not seeing you. Maybe I need to refresh. So this is the Pixtem team. I'm not sure why it jumped to that, but you get the sense.
Yes.
All right. So we're inviting you to actually join our photo if you want to be part of our World Language with Technology. And we will love to have you be part of our staff photo. And we'll see you next time on Teaching World Language with Technology.
Thank you.